It's Friday, Feedback Friday, the feedbackiest day of the week. Ha! It's a little different Feedback Friday this week. I decided to play another game because I got this message in my email inbox that said, "Hold on to your nuts." And because I am a super mature person, I had to check this out. This is Acorn Assault Rodent Revolution. It's a turn-based strategy, time turn-based strategy with a match 3 mechanic. And I'm in a really hard part right now because I was playing it last night, but I will I will try not to die too much. And I decided to do another game because this week actually got so overwhelming with feedback stuff. I'm not quite sure where to start. And, you know, if in doubt, play video games. Overall, I think that our little community here did great. The rest of the internet, I kind of mourn for. But we're doing good. We're doing good. We're still staying positive despite that seeming to be an anomaly. I'm really not sure what to do right now in terms of content because there's this, you know, latest series of dog whistles in the culture war surrounding gaming right now. Whenever Anita Sarkeesian pops back up on the radar, it's you know, it's a series of dog whistles. There's this domino effect where the two competing factions of culture warriors just start, you know, they're warring. That's why they're called culture warriors. And I personally find it frustrating that even the term gamer is a dog whistle now. You know, it means one thing to some of us and something very different to people who want to use gamers as this code word for, you know, the misogynist neckbeards that are ruining everything. And for people who don't know what a dog whistle is, it's a term in sort of political media that talks about this tendency for politicians to use these coded messages that mean one thing to sane normal people and something completely different to everyone else. I think my guys are gonna get wiped out here. The body count in this game is exceptionally high. This is sort of like a metaphor for the culture war with squirrels. It's the French Revolution. So, I mean, the French Revolution, for people who know, it was an exceptionally bloody conflict, right? A lot of people died. And so the fact that they retold it with squirrels, I'm like, this is strange and wonderful. But I digress. So yeah, I mean, I'm very pleased that people were willing to have an open mind in the way I approached the Anita Sarkeesian Paper Magazine article, because I'm sure you guys know that I am not out to have this, you know, knockdown, drag out personal battle with anyone. I just sort of want to debate ideas. I want to have a discussion about ideas. And I don't think every discussion needs to be a debate. Like, am I alone in this? Like, I often enjoy just listening to people talk, like a casual conversation, you know, instead of Oxford Rules Debate Club. That's good every so often, but it can get really old just because it's all about winning as opposed to finding a compromise or, you know, even just sort of exploring another point of view. Whenever you get into that paradigm of gotta win, then it starts getting adversarial, and that's not necessarily the best way to approach every problem. I know, sounds utterly nutty. Haha, squirrels. Nutty. Get it? I'm hilarious. But it does. It does. And if you're actually thinking about it, people keep calling for debate. Well, what about discussion? Like, why can't we just talk about this stuff without it being an us versus them thing? And I mean, debates are supposed to be kept friendly. These structures are intended for people who don't despise each other. And if you do, there's going to be issues. Now, but I mean, of course, here we did very well. On the internet, there was this thing called, not on the internet, on Twitter. On Twitter, there was a thing called the triggering that I admit really pissed me off. Like, I was actually angry at it. And it takes a lot for me to really get angry about something on the internet. But I just found it to be exceptionally... I don't know what the word is. I'm still working through why I got so pissed off about it. But, what's this? I think it was that it wasn't just juvenile, because juvenile is okay in my world. I think that it's okay. In fact, it might be, advisable to be somewhat juvenile every so often, because it's important to keep a sense of humor about things. However, this wasn't just juvenile, it was mean. It was not, it was an attempt to, how do I put this? There are some people that believe that these people that go on about trigger warnings and things like that on college campuses, the people they called out specifically were feminists. So we know the basic contingent who is behind this, right? But they claim that it's just for attention, and it's just, so they were saying things. I mean, on its face, they claimed it was a deliberate attempt to trigger someone, and that's not funny. That's never funny. That's never something that people should do. There's no way to joke about that, I guess, is what I'm getting at. There's no way to jokingly, deliberately trigger someone. Triggers are a very real thing, as someone who's had them. And it's not, this is where we get into humor and dark humor and all this stuff. I would be okay if it was like a South Park thing. I could defend that, because South Park exists in a particular context. And, South Park sort of makes fun of everyone. I think the primary mandate behind South Park is like, everybody needs to stop taking themselves so seriously. I didn't get that. And I mean, I forced myself to read a lot of this junk, and like, this is how silly it got. That there were, crap. I'm gonna lose this round. But, people were, how do I explain this? It escalated extremely quickly, as these culture war feuds tend to. People started trying to, take back the tag, for lack of a better term, and they ended up just sort of making the issue, like, it fanned the flames more. And so what ended up happening is a block list got set up, but Randy Harper strikes again. It actually was her. That's not an assumption. But, she set up this block list that just blocked everybody who was part of the discussion point. And then she refused to make a whitelist because she didn't have time. So even the people on there defending people, I did. So it's possible I'm on yet another block list for opposing, mean behavior. But, there was no, there was no sense. Block list can't think. We're going to try that again. And this is a lot harder to talk and play this game than I thought it was. It's a lot more thoughtful than I initially gave it credit for as a game about squirrels. But when you punish people for talking about a topic of conversation, which is essentially what this does. You're putting a chill on debate. It's one thing to block people for revolting views. It's another thing to block people for discussing a topic and having a machine do your thinking. And people justify it to themselves in this paradigm of safety, safety, safety. It's not safety, it's quiet. You're looking for peace and quiet. Nobody can reach through the internet and physically harm you. Now, that doesn't mean harm can't take place through the internet. It means that in this case, they're in this, years now long cultural battle. No one has actually been physically harmed yet. And that's important to keep in mind because, these, the people who are really actively involved in this have been dubbed the worst harassers on the internet. No, the worst harassers on the internet actually find ways to physically harm people. So it's just, all objectivity's been lost. And that's why I don't like dog whistle politics. They're designed to wipe objectivity out of a debate. And people won't like me saying that, but it's true. And I think the reason dog whistle politics right now are so effective is because people don't know what to look for regarding these dog whistles. And as long as people are not aware of the things they're unintentionally contributing to, those things grow stronger. And so, that's why I want to talk about it, because I want people to actually be aware of some of the things that are being sort of fed intravenously through gaming right now. Things like you'll hear a lot of equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome, which sounds exceptionally sensible, right? But I don't know of anybody who knowingly advocates for equality of outcome. I don't know of any group, any reputable group out there who is saying, give me things for doing absolutely nothing. Now, there may be places where in practice that is what they're saying and they're not aware of it, but no one actively does that. No one knowingly does that. So instead of, spewing a buzzword, how about talking to people with a certain amount of respect and explaining to them why what they're doing is in fact an equality of outcome argument instead of an equality of opportunity argument, instead of just reciting the fact that equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. That doesn't mean anything to anybody. I don't know anybody who does that consciously, does that deliberately. And guess what? The people that do aren't going to admit they're doing it. So all that, gotcha, does is it's just grandstanding. It doesn't do a damn bit of good. But it's such habit now on the internet that people just do, I win a point. Like, what do you win for checking off the fallacy checklist? What do you win for going, no true Scotsman? And those fallacies, we have the fallacy now because these things are so misused. But, I think that what we're not getting is any reasonable dialogue on these subjects. And that is an issue because these issues are important. I think that most people involved actually do care. And that's the reason I keep addressing this stuff, because people are like, Liana, why do you bother? And sometimes I wonder that myself. I wonder what is actually to be gained with any of this stuff. And then I realized, no, there are plenty of people. About 1,000 people watch pretty much every video I make. That's a substantial number of people, and that means that it's worth talking about this stuff. And one of the things that I am very happy about this week is that I experimented with the thing I talked about Patreon perks, and I didn't want to do this thing where there's sort of like one tier of content for Patreon backers and then another tier of content for everybody else. I don't believe in that. I don't like this idea that you can, essentially pay to win in internet content. I think that because some people don't have the good fortune to be able to pay a certain amount for content every month. There's a lot of students, and I know I have a lot of students because whenever it's like reading week or something like that, my traffic takes a nosedive. But, you know, there's a lot of students, there's a lot of people who aren't in America. And so purchasing power means something different. And, you know, if somebody can spare $1 a month, great. You know, when you think about it, that's $12 a year. That's not much. But if they really can't, and I do believe that it's possible that some people just can't, then that's fine. You know, people should be able to support the way they can. And I don't want to try to guilt somebody into, you know, oh no, you really can afford it if you really tried. No, I don't want to play that game. I want to let people, I want to have a carrot monetization system, not a stick. You know, to do that, you have to offer carrots. And so what I did as an experiment was I was like, you know, hey guys, I've got this this project, the Gamer's Guide to Feminism. That's actually my question for a week. Do you guys prefer the term Gamer's Guide to Feminism or a history of feminism for gamers? Because I'm having a hard time deciding. I'm waffling back and forth, and I'd like to nail it down because I'd like to have to go back and change fewer videos at the end of the day. But which ones do you prefer? Sorry for the digression, but what I ended up doing was opening up next week's video, the audio. I put it up on an unlisted YouTube video and said to people, here's the content. What do you think? And it was basically, I like to keep those videos under 30 minutes. I think there's a psychological barrier at the 30-minute mark that I want to respect. And so I said, okay, this has got to be under 30 minutes. It's 34 minutes right now. What do I cut? And I was really impressed by the quality of feedback I received. People were thoughtful. They took a lot more time than I expected. I expected sort of, I like this, I didn't like this. But people actually discussed it, and we had some people who actually had some expertise on the subject weighing in, and it was really, really cool. It was much more than I expected. Absolutely. It was much more quality feedback than I expected going in. And the other thing that was cool is I was also expecting a real, you know, all over the map in terms of responses. And it wasn't. It was pretty unanimous what people said, cut this. And they gave reasons too, which was fabulous. It wasn't just I liked it, I didn't like it. It was basically the feedback I got was that people wanted me to keep things more PG so it was more accessible to a wider audience who might actually have interest in these things. And I hadn't considered that. I was keeping this as, you know, gamer-centric content. And accordingly, I was making it, you know, I don't know, for lack of a better term, kind of rock and roll, right? And I didn't think that, you know, maybe there's a more significant end game here. Maybe I should be more aware of making sure that it is, I hate the term family friendly, but, you know, for lack of a better term, there you go. Maybe it should be more family friendly. And it was a good experience. I'm definitely going to do it again. And so thank you, guys. I really do appreciate the Patreon support. I really do appreciate that people don't have to give me money, and I think it's more positive at the end of the day that people opt in, because that means they're actually expressing value in content as opposed to sort of being forced to buy in, or else they can't see it at all. But it's definitely something I'm going to do more of. So if you want to be a part of the process, become a Patreon supporter. And like I said, it's $1 a month. It's $1 a month. It's $1. And people are like, well, what can that do? Well, it does a lot. But I'll wrap here. I was hoping to show you guys me actually winning. Maybe I'll play this until I win and then tag it on at the end of this video so you guys can see me actually. Yes, I finally did beat it. The reason I like this game is because it is uniquely tactical. That match 3 dynamic really changes the way you place things on an RTS board. Again, I'll put a link to the game in the bottom of the comments. But I hope you enjoyed this very positive Feedback Friday. And now squirrels are my arch nemesis. And you are going down, squirrels.